The sumptuous surroundings of the Savoy Hotel in the centre of London was the setting for Lord Lipsey, chairman of the British Greyhound Racing Board, to unveil Vision 2010. Invited guests from all around the country and from every part of the greyhound industry were on hand to hear the latest proposals that will shape our sport for the next 5 years and help direct the present and future funding from the bookmakers. So this is Vision 2010. Vision 2010 has been orchestrated by Lord Lipsey, chairman of the BGRB, who has spent many months listening to all factions of the sport, assimilated their views and produced a blueprint to drive the sport forward. Along with the help of Petrie, General Secretary of the BGRB, he outlined the plans. Everyone agreed that this was a tonic for the industry, which has been rudderless for many years. There followed a lively question and answer session. An unexpected bonus was the appearance of Sports Minister Richard Cabourn, who broke off from an Olympics planning meeting to give his support.
Credit due to all the guys that Lord Lipsey's brought together to get this document out. I think it shows quite a crossroads in this sport. That is something I think that's been needed to bring it all together. It has now got to find its niche in the leisure market, and that's a tough marketplace. And that's why I think it's important that the industry projects itself as a modern sport, one that's prepared to change. Corporate hospitality is now coming back into ground racing. I think also two other areas that are important in the vision document. One is the staff that work in it and the investment into people, which is very important. And secondly, the dogs themselves. I think the whole welfare of the dogs, as we expand the sport, then I think it is important to make sure that the dogs themselves do have the best of welfare. And that, again, I think is an important part of the 2010 vision document.
I don't think any previous sports minister would even have thought of dropping into a presentation of this kind, but it's typical of the support he's given the industry throughout. The thing about Dick, though, is he's not just saying, well done, he's saying there's more to be done, and that's the lesson of this morning, really. This is the plan for the way ahead that we're trying to promote today.
Now, what more assistance can the government give?
Well, I think the government has all sorts of levers to pull, particularly in ensuring that bookmaker support remains firm and strong and we get the money from them, in ensuring that the animal welfare bill strikes the right balance between improving welfare and not imposing impossible costs on the industry. But in general, I think it's extremely helpful to have the government behind you, and certainly you don't want to have the government against you, which is what we sometimes seem bent on achieving.
The voluntary levy, I said, has made a major injection, major investment into the sector, into the sport, and I think it'll start benefiting from that. I've no doubt that if it continues to do what I think it will do, and that's going to grow, then I've no doubt that the bookmakers may well look at that as a good thing to invest in.
And a message for the non-payers of the voluntary levy?
Non-payers get it paid. I think that anybody who rides on the bike is wrong anyway. I think that's a principle. They're getting as it were, the fruits of it, so therefore they ought to be part of that investment as well. And not that I would want to make that mandatory at all, but I think there's a moral obligation for those people to make sure they invest in their own sport, in their own industry.
Now, what to you would quantify success in 2010?
I want to see attendances moving up by a substantial proportion. Spend per head, if we got revenues up into the stadia by 50% by 2010, I think the world would be transformed. I'm not saying that's what we shall achieve. It's a very ambitious sort of figure to be looking for, but it's been completely flat for the last few years. As long as we get it moving up, that will be at least a step forward.
All smiles outside afterwards, with Lord Lipsey able to rely on the support of Sports Minister Richard Cabourn. So what are the main objectives of Vision 2010? To increase attendances, improve animal welfare, develop an industry structure, improve the business management of the industry, and provide high-quality racing on a quality track. Petrie outlined the first of these goals.
We need to get more people across the country aware of greyhound racing and talking about greyhound racing. If you can raise the national profile, if you can brand it nationally so people become aware of it, and so when they're talking about sports, greyhound racing comes into that. When they're talking about the leisure market, the consideration to the pub, the restaurant, the bowling alley, the Greyhound Stadium is thought of. After they've got good restaurant facilities and they've got live entertainment. The benefits of 32 or whatever tracks taking part in a national branding and national marketing initiatives, so you can roll things out across the country, it really means that the media are more interested than just the local media. That doesn't mean that the local initiatives are not important. They are. It's vital that they continue, and it's vital that regional marketing and national marketing work together to get a better end product. The regional marketing will always be important to draw the local people in. The national marketing is important to raise the national profile of the sport.
But raising the national profile of the sport has been a stumbling block in the past, as our heroes are the racing greyhounds, as opposed to other sports who have more recognisable personalities.
It's difficult to build the identity around the dog. It's around the whole event. The dog is at the forefront. They're lovable animals, and many people have them as pets. And when you watch them race, they're tremendously athletic. And you go down to the track side, and a number of people I've been racing with, and they're so impressed with how the power and the speed of the greyhound when you're standing at trackside. But you've got to wrap the whole thing up as a package. It's not just about racing. It's not just about betting. It's about facilities, restaurants, racing, the whole night out. It's a great night out, and the whole thing's got to be packaged together.